massive quotes from Jimmy Butler, Terry Rozier, and even Erik Spoelstra discussing the structure of this Miami Heat team and really what it's going to look like on the hardwood going into next season. I'll break down all the quotes and information right now on this episode of Heat Digest, so let's not waste any time and break it all down. A completed look for this Miami Heat team. Now, before we even get to the quotes, I just can't even wait to tell you guys how excited this makes me in the sense that if this Miami Heat team can stay in a completed form, and what I mean by that is not losing key players due to injury day after day after day, like we saw last year. If you guys didn't watch a lot of Miami Heat basketball last season, from the opening day, from game one until game 82, this Miami Heat team never really found their footing. It was like they were constantly looking for their glasses in the dark, and they were never able to actually put them on their face and turn the light on in the room. And again, that may seem crazy, but again, you just have to understand, and I have the numbers for you that we'll break down in just a second after we break down these quotes from Erik Spoelstra. And again, shout out to Zach Weinenberg. As he goes on to say, Erik Spoelstra talks about wanting to see how players like Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, and Terry Rozier play together. And he goes on to say, and I quote, "The group has had no chance to get to that point. We're still looking for the climb." End of quote from Erik Spoelstra. And again, he's very good at what he does. We know this. Every time Erik Spoelstra comes up in one of these Heat videos, I am the biggest fan of Erik Spoelstra due to just having so much trust and so much faith in him to run this team, run this offense, establish this defense early and often with this Miami Heat team. He knows how to win. He's done it year after year after year. He's worked his way up from being a film coordinator to being a head coach and one of the best of all time when it comes to that job description. He's very good at what he does. And again, he's been really dealt an unfair hand, as well as these players for this Miami Heat team, including Rozier, including Hero, including Butler, Adebayo. All these guys that have been there for 3, 4, 5 years now. I'm not going to say it's been totally unfair, because not all 4 to 5 years have been injury riddled. But again, the last few have been just disgracefully and just otherworldly, just derailing for this Miami Heat team, the players, the coaching staff, and really everyone involved and connected to this Miami Heat organization due to the amount of injuries we've dealt with. Now, this is from last season, okay? These are the starting 5 lineups through last season, and it's not even all of them. This is only 20 of them. I believe we ended with 26 different starting lineups last season. Here is 20 of them. How do you expect to win if you have to start 20 plus different starting lineups out of 82 games? Out of 82 games that you have to lace your shoes up, walk out onto a floor, 41 of them on the road, 41 of them at home. How do you go out there knowing that nothing is going to look the same from the week prior? The players aren't going to be the same due to the fact that some of them that were playing last week aren't there this week due to injuries, just having to be absent for family matters, deaths in the family, whatever it may be. And now, if we can be somewhat completed as we go into next season, and again, I don't mean that in the sense of we have found our stride and we have been playing together for so long, and this is like a dynasty-esque team in the sense that we've been playing together for 3 years. We've been good for 3 years. We're going to be able to find our pieces the second we start the season in game 1, because everything is just casual. We've done everything before. It's nothing new to be implemented. We're not learning anything new. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying just being completed as a team when it comes down to the injury report. Not having an injury report that looks something or a lot worse than this. Right now, this looks great. There's only one player with any form of injury listed next to him, and that's Josh Richardson, who's listed as day-to-day. That's what DD means. But again, last season, there were screenshots I'd bring up going into games or coming out of games, reviewing what we had to work with in those games or going into those games, and Rozier was out, Hero was out, Butler was out, Jovic was out, Adebayo was thankfully there, Jaquez was out, Richardson was obviously out for the last 6 months of the season, Duncan Robinson was out for a few weeks. We just could not catch a break in Miami. There's no other way to slice it, and I understand. There's no other way around it. We can't say, well, if we didn't get injured, we would have been good. It's a hypothetical. You can't live off hypotheticals. You don't win championships on hypotheticals. We have to stay healthy. We have to be present. We have to be active in order to be successful in a very, very competitive league. And again, Erik Spoelstra has said just recently, in the last few days, September 30th, 3 days ago, saying this team has never gotten the chance. These core players, these great elite level players anywhere in the NBA, they haven't gotten the chance to play together. And when they do, it's for 15 minutes. And then they have to break it all up. And they don't get to go again for weeks. And then once they go again, another player falls. And it's, again, you get 20 minutes in, 3 weeks out. Then we get back in, maybe a day in, 2 days in, 3, 4, 5 days in. That's great. Then we're out for 3 more weeks. And it's that consistent pattern of not being consistently there and consistently available that is going to be a problem for any sports organization. I don't care if you play basketball, I don't care if you play football, hockey, it doesn't matter. It's going to be a problem. You cannot just completely just replace one player who's supposed to be a star in a star-studded piece, in a key role player, or just overall a key player for your organization. So we'll move on to the next quote. Again, this one is from Jimmy Butler. Shout out to Emo Jimmy on Twitter. So he goes on to say, Jimmy Butler on how Terry, Tyler, and Bam will fit. And he goes on to say, and I quote, even if we end up in the same spot, don't nobody want to guard us anyways. I think us 4 guys can put the ball in the basket at a really high clip. Have to do it together while playing high-level defense. And that's the end of the quote. And again, almost that time, says Emo Jimmy. And he's right, as we have less than 20 days until the NBA season officially starts for this Miami Heat organization. And again, I cannot wait. I think the defense is going to come out and be absolutely ridiculous. I think the fast break is going to be a massive, massive part of this Miami Heat offense. And when we get into those half-court sets, I don't think shit is going to hit the fan like it did last year. I think we're going to be able to slow it down. I think we're going to be able to speed it up and have multiple options on the offensive end of the floor really at any point in the season. Again, just these 4 guys that we're discussing here, and Butler, Terry, Tyler, and Bam are going to be flat out dominant this season for the Miami Heat, especially if they can find a rhythm and find a groove to play off of one another and not against one another. Things will be very, very good for this Miami Heat team, and it makes me very excited because it leaves me to think we are going to be very, very successful. Now, we know these guys are proven players. We know these guys are 20-point plus per game scorers, all 4 of them without a doubt. Now that leaves us to one last quote, and that is from Terry Rozier, the starting point guard for this Miami Heat team. And now the reason I added this quote to this video and didn't make it its own video is because it definitely goes along with the idea of playing alongside other players, specifically big name stars like the ones listed in Terry, Tyler, Bam, obviously Jimmy. And this is from, again, Emo Jimmy, once again, shout out to you, citing you once again on this channel, to Terry Rozier on what to expect this season, as he goes on to say, and I quote, I'm going to bring a lot. I'm self-motivated. It's been a long off season. It was tough sitting and watching guys play in the playoffs. I got some revenge in me now. I'm coming for. Now this is, and that's the end of the quote from Terry Rozier. This is very, very interesting in the sense that I just don't want Rozier to come out with the same mentality as Tyler Hero did the season prior, where he came out and said, I want to be a 25-point per game scorer. I want to make an all-star team. And things really didn't work out. It seemed like he was trying to force things offensively. He wasn't allowing the offense to really play amongst everybody rather than just himself exclusively. And again, we can't have that feeling on the offensive end in the half court. Obviously, we need to see the ball move a lot. We need to see good ball screens and off-ball screens set in order to get the bodies moving really open and just being able to finish open shots, put ourselves in a position where we can steal some free points and not have to work so damn hard in the half court in order to score and keep up with teams. Again, if the defense is firing, I can see how this fast break for this Miami Heat team can be absolutely dominant. I think it's going to be one of the key factors for this Miami Heat team going into next season. And again, I flat out cannot wait to see how it plays out. The last thing I'm going to point out is the amount of games missed last season, and it really goes hand in hand with the amount of different lineups we saw last season for this Miami Heat team. So if we look at it, Jaime Jaquez Jr., our rookie, played in the most games, only missing 7 of them. Again, he missed those with the groin injury. No surprise there, as that was very, very big. Bam Adebayo missed 11 games. So, again, not our two best players, but 2 of our best players, and our best player, Bam Adebayo, not missing too many games, which is what we love to see. Duncan obviously missed about 14 games. Hayward Highsmith was active. Caleb Martin pretty active. Jimmy Butler and down is where we start to see a bit of a problem. Now, Jimmy Butler missed 22 games. Now, if Kevin Love misses 22 games in the beginning, in the middle of the season, we're not going to say much about it. But again, if Jimmy Butler misses those games, regardless if it's in the beginning, middle, end, or in the playoffs, we're going to have a problem. He's too big of a piece for this Miami Heat team, especially if those 22 games come at the middle, towards the end, into the playoffs for this Miami Heat team. We can't have that happen. Jovic played 46 games. Josh Richardson obviously missed, again, from basically the middle of January until the end of the year. He never came back. And then other players, Hero played in 42 of the games, barely half of the games last season. Lowry was traded earlier. Rozier was traded at the halfway point and played in 31 games. Still missed a bunch of time with the neck injury he suffered. But again, thankfully he's healthy and safe, and he will be returning to this Miami Heat squad this season. So again, nothing too crazy there. But just overall, we have to see more activity and more overall availability from these Miami Heat key players in order to be very successful in a very competitive Eastern Conference, as well as just an overall competitive NBA. So again, that'll be it for this episode of Heat Digest. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about these 3 comments from these 3 very different people on this Miami Heat organization, and I will see you guys on the next episode of Heat Digest.